Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. We here.
What's up, party people?
This is episode 9.
Episode 9?
Episode 9. Let's clap it up for episode 9. Come on now. That's good. That's great. That's
Woo!
great. We're doing it up, man. Um,
Yes, sir.
I don't want to do a lot of intro. You know what I'm saying? I want the viewers and the listeners just for us to get straight into the point. That cool with you?
Hey, that's work. That works for me. Let's do it. Let's do
And
it.
what are we covering today, Pop?
I think we're kind of like twofold a little bit, but it falls into one, which is how not to be annoying. You know what I'm
Ooh,
saying?
let's talk
Especially
about
with
it.
especially with young folks. So yeah. How not to be annoying to one another.
All right, let's get into this intro real quick.
One, two, three, four. Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy.
All right. I like it. I like it. Today
Word.
we in here. We talking about how not to be annoying.
Yes. How not to be annoying. One of the reasons I was thinking about this was, working with young people and being in schools and just kind of seeing the interactions amongst people. And when I think about the age group, I'm thinking of, middle school, junior high on up through high school, and just the way that sometimes they're treating each other as peers. And so a lot of times these young people think that when they're even interacting with their peers that they're being funny, but they're actually being annoying. And so those of you that listen to this podcast, you might be like, well, who's being annoying? Who's being annoying? And if you're asking that question, it might be you. So you're like, hey, there ain't nobody being annoying, man. Then maybe it's you that was the one being annoying. And so yeah, I just wanted to bring this to the young people and parents to and caring adults that are listening in to really think about how do we train, educate, and support our young people in learning how not to be annoying, man. Like, and they, I think a lot of times young people believe that it's funny. So I
Mhm.
think also during this time frame, that they're trying to navigate and figure out how to work with and through who they are, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Maybe being the class clown, is that what they want? Or is it attention? Is it power? What is it that they're trying to do? And they don't know quite how to navigate that. And so um, it ends up sometimes just coming off as you're just being annoying.
Mhm.
And stop, dude. Like, yo, kill that noise, yo. Like, so one of the things that you and I were talking about though was, us being in school settings sometimes that we've heard from teachers and admin that a lot of these youth today, junior high, middle school, and up, right, are kind of delayed. And what were you saying? Some of the teachers were saying as far as that was concerned.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of the things that have been saying, administrations have been sharing with us has been since the pandemic, they've been seeing a delay in maturity within their youth. So they see a lot of eighth graders who are now eighth graders still kind of in that realm socially, being equivalent to a sixth grader, right? And it makes sense if you look at the data and you look at the duration of the pandemic, right? Where students weren't in school for about a year and a half for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's been so from seventh to eighth grade was maybe their first full 2 years or first year in a full semester. But in that time of not being able to connect socially with other people, they lost out on crucial developmental skills, right, of being in social, having social interaction with each other. So that goes into the part of maybe those people that we think maybe are 13, 14, who should understand these social cues, that should understand when somebody is annoyed. They're not able to detect that, right? And we're,
Mhm.
and on this podcast, we're not here to, if you are somebody listening and being like, oh, that might be me, don't be down about yourself. Be proud of yourself because you turned up to the Up to It podcast and we got your back. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna sit here and bag on you. We're gonna sit here and give you the tips. And we came up with 3 ways for you not to be annoying, but also to build genuine connection. And that goes to our first part, right? Our first tip, which is be genuine. And what does that mean, Pop? What does it mean to be genuine?
I think being genuine is like when you're navigating and trying to figure out, developmentally where you are. You're trying a lot of new things, and you're trying to figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And what I mean by that is it might be even style. You know what I mean, as far as your clothes and whatnot. I know some people have gone through transitions of, hey, I want to be like kind of preppy. You know what I mean? I want to wear, what are some of the clothes now that are popular?
Supreme,
Supreme, okay.
that's like kind of like the upper hand, right? Or the polo, right? That was for me.
Polo's always classic, right? No
Right,
doubt,
Ralph Lauren, whatever.
right? Or Air Force Ones, right? And wearing
Mhm.
those,
The dunks.
right? But then some people sometimes like, man, maybe going more emu. You know what I'm saying? Emo,
Emu?
emo, emo,
Emo?
excuse me, emo.
Nah, okay.
Emo is that bird. And you might go through that too. You might be wanting trying to figure out how to don some of those feathers and whatnot, right?
Maybe.
Emo style, right? Where it's just all dark colors, right? All black.
Mhm.
And just trying to navigate that and saying like, okay, or being genuine and trying to figure out who you are, but go with your style. And sometimes, some people don't even want to wear makeup. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like if they, are young women, and even some guys sometimes, right? Want to try on this, that, and the other.
Right.
But be genuine about who you are. If you're a person who is, part of the LGBTQI community, LGBT plus community, then that's cool too. You know what I mean? But be,
Yeah.
be genuine of who you are and where you're at in your discovery and your challenges
Mhm.
of growing up.
Right.
Um, and so being genuine really is about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "Hey, who am I?" You remember? Hey, remember when you were
Mm.
younger? We did.
Yep.
We did that.
Can you share your side of that? Should I share my side first, and then you can
Yeah, yeah,
share
yeah.
where
Go
you
ahead, go
came?
ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, go for it, go for it.
This is great because this is something that I share a lot with the youth today, about I statements, right? Like this was something at first, like it sounds corny when you talk to youth and you tell, oh, you know what, you got to practice using I statements. And this is when we talk about self-esteem and self-image, right? So let me tell you the story about me growing up. This is probably around fifth, fourth grade. Your boy was a little bit, a little doughy, a little bit more chunky than the average bear. You know what I'm saying? And that weighed heavy on me. I was bullied because of that. Also being black and Mexican, there were some things that some stereotypes people had in mind about me, right? It was like, well, you're black and you're not athletic. Oh, you're black and Mexican and you can't run or jump fast. Like, what's up with that? And it really got to me. And also, I joke with the kids and I said, my teeth were throwing up gang signs back in the day, man. Like they were crooked, man. And I had an overbite. It was a whole thing, and it really got to me because a lot of people would talk about those things about me and tell me that I wasn't attractive or I wasn't athletic enough to hang out with them. And I remember just we were in the truck together, and I just remember sharing this information with you, and we were driving, and you were looking at me, and you were like, you know what? Let's practice this. Let's practice this exercise. And what was that exercise per se
Yeah, yeah,
that you
the
shared?
exercise. So was really about like, asking the question multiple times, who are you?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Who are you? And and you have to respond with a statement. I am, I am, I
Mhm.
am whatever, right? So I am black. I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am smart. I am, uh, you know, good looking. I am whatever it may be. I am good at sports. I am good at math. I am good at singing. I am good at making relationships. I am I am loved. I am Givens. I am Zion. I am so you just like just say what you are and what you believe you are. So here's the other trick to this though, is when you're doing this, um, you say the things that you say things that you don't even believe to be true, but you say them so that you bring them into manifestation.
Mm.
So even if you don't believe and you would like to be good at sports, you still say, I am good at sports
Mm.
because now you're making some connections within the brain and making it fire and connect the connectivity in the brain to be like, oh, well, wait a minute, wait, we are good at sports. Well, yeah, because you said you are, right?
Mm.
Now I didn't say you're going to be a NBA player but if that's or NFL, but hey, if that's what you want to be, then say that, state that, and that's how you become being genuine. But you got to know who you are, and you got to tell yourself those things. And here's what I would also recommend in addition to that is that it's got to be positive. Got to be positive.
Mhm.
Cannot be anything. You can't say I am ugly. I I, I am stupid. I
Mm.
whatever those negative words. Oh, I don't want to put too many out there because I don't want people grasping onto those things. Those can also be manifested and come to light and come be true if you're saying those things. And so being genuine, in my opinion, and for this podcast is really about understanding who you are and then walking in that and being
Mm.
and figuring out how to be okay with that, right? I know, like you were saying earlier, just now, as far as the being black and Mexican, that's you're bicultural, biracial, and so trying to figure that out takes time,
Oh, that's
right?
a whole podcast in itself right there, man.
Right, and being black or just being Hispanic, Latinx, or just being a part of the LGBTQ community, IA community, just being a male or female, or again, whatever it may be. Those take time also, but still trying to be genuine with who you are, and then figuring out how to be okay with that. And the way that you become okay with that is believing you first believing that it's okay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say this one's a little bit complex, right? Because we're talking to the youth component. Um, we gotta let them know that it's okay to change, right? It's
Yeah.
okay to change, and that's what you were mentioning in the first part was like it's okay to change. Or maybe you want to try on this preppy look, maybe you want to try on this more athletic or the streetwear stuff, right? And that's okay. So what's the balance here is like you got to balance it out, right? You can try things on and see what's fit, but then really figure out, is this genuinely me? Do I love this? Is this something that I love to be or love to do? And then if that's the answer is yes, then stick with it. If the answer is no, then turn it around and find something else that you like to do or like to wear or like to be. And that goes with the I statements, right? I like how you brought up that sometimes people talk about those negatives, right? They bring up the negatives I ams. And I think if you are thinking of those negative I ams, rephrase it, look at it a different way rather than
Mhm,
saying I am annoying, be like, I am in search for relationships. Okay.
mhm,
I am lazy. Or if instead of saying I'm lazy, be like, I'm looking to work or I'm
mhm.
trying to find motivation. I am motivated. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that's the brain. That's how you trick your brain into buying into, instead of believing all that negative, because it's easy to believe in the negative. Then you
Always,
gotta
always.
change it. You gotta change it to that positive, and then your body, like you said, neurology says that your brain will start to believe it. It connects and the neurons fire off, and your brain's like, okay, we are okay. We're gonna do those things. So
Yes,
my
yes.
third part to this part of just being genuine before we move on to the next one is as an adult, a trusted adult in this situation who has a youth that is trying to find out who their genuine self is. How could they support that youth, or should they go back and listen to 5 Ways to Be a Trusted Adult podcast?
Right, right. There you go. Yeah, I think it's supporting young people in their journey, as they're trying to figure it out. And it's not to say that you can't give feedback to them, like, hey, I don't know, like, my mom and dad. My mom was real cool with me, like, experimenting. So you can't tell right now, but I used to have some hair. I used to have the high top fade, flat top. Used to have a flat top, and I had like this little thing in the front too that was like a little visor with my hair. Though, man, it was kind of dope, right? But anyway, when I was living in Saudi, and my boys will attest to this, is that um, I would put like designs in my head. The barber, which was my friend's dad, he put like lightning bolts in our head, or so lines, different type of lines. And my mom was like, "Oh man, that's so cool. Oh, I like that." My dad was like, "Yo, I don't know about that." Right, and so, and he was being truthful, right? But I had two. I mean, as far as him not liking it or whatever, and that was okay. And I did take it in, but it didn't, bring me down, or it was just like, okay, that's his opinion. He doesn't like it, and so it's about supporting your young people and what they're trying, as far as their style, and even who they are and where they're trying to go, and what they even believe. And that's why talking with your young person about things, not talking at them, but with them and about things, so you can have a dialogue, will help them to feel more secure in themselves. It also helped them to figure it out,
Yeah.
and make the decisions that they need to make, because ultimately, when it comes to, the end, as far as where we're trying to get young people as adults, caring adults, is right. It's for them to be successful, self-aware, positive, people that contribute to our community. And
Right.
so, especially when they start to get to middle school, one of the things I believe that parents and adults should do is um, begin to change their relationship with their young person, from being the parent that is, taking care of a baby, which is, a baby needs everything. You got to be there for it, right? You got to feed it, you got to change it, you got to make sure that they, take naps, and don't fall off the crib or whatever, right? We're just there. But as they're getting older, they need to begin to experiment, and learn how to handle their independence. And so that means having conversation with them. And part of that conversation, those conversations, man. Now, notice I'm saying conversation. I'm not saying lecturing, or you as a caring adult or parent just talking at them. Having a conversation about what is it that they want, what is it that they where they're trying to go, um, and allowing them to respond, and share how they're feeling and where they're at and where they think they want to go. And you may not agree, and that's fine, right? But try not to dominate the conversation so much that it doesn't allow them an opportunity to really reflect on what you're saying and give you a response. If it's one of those situations where you're doing all the talking and they're just sitting there like,
Right.
and then they're on their phone.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
not a conversation, right? That's not a conversation. But anyway, so being genuine. So that's what I would say to adults, and
I
caring,
love that.
is
And
just, help them talk about what they're feeling and what they're going through, and why they're trying that style on, or that situation, or why they want to try that sport, or and that's going to help them to learn to be genuine and to be okay with being genuine, especially if they have your support and love.
definitely. So true. Let's segue into the second part, man. The second B is to be honest, right? Be honest. And that kind of goes together with that be genuine, is like being honest to yourself. But also, when we're talking about being honest in your relationships, whether they're romantic or whether they are a friendship, being honest and being aware. And when you go tell us more about that being honest
Yeah, I
portion.
was gonna say that, being honest also is like, it's a lot of times people will mistake, um that they're being honest, but yet they're being mean. And so being honest, I like to say, is it's not always about what you say, but how you say it.
Right.
So if there's something that you're feeling like you don't agree with, or you do agree with and the other person doesn't, you have the right to be honest about how you feel. You have a right and should be honest about what you share about yourself, and be honest with your answers in certain situations. And so it's about um, finding the right time sometimes. Like, so if somebody comes up to you and is like, "Hey, how do you like this shirt on me?" and you're like, "Ooh, it really don't look good on them." But you want to figure out a way and how you say that. It was like, hey, that shirt is cool, but I don't know if it really matches with your skin tone. You know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
you find a way in how to say it as opposed to, man, that is whack. Why in the heck are you wearing that? Who told you that looked good on you, man? You look stupid, man. What the heck, man? You bugging. Why are you wearing that? You see, that's you're being honest, but you're being hurtful also.
Right.
Or somebody, you don't want to go somewhere with somebody, right? Let's say that they're
Mm.
like, hey man, let's go over here. Let's skip school. Let's skip school today. And you're like, you need to be honest, be like, hey, I really don't want to skip school because I could get in trouble for that.
Right.
And my mom's gonna kill me, or I'm gonna, fell out of this class, or so be honest as opposed to not dealing with the situation in that moment. And so I think
Right.
being honest doesn't mean you have the right to be mean. Being honest is being true to yourself, which Z said ties into just being genuine. And so being honest uh, about your comfortability with things, being honest about how you feel about things, um, and if you agree or don't disagree, or if you agree or disagree, if you agree or disagree, that's fine too, right? But just being honest about where you are and how you feel about things. If you could begin to learn this at a younger age, it's going to make life a little bit more easy. And it also help you to realize who your friends are if you can be honest. But
Mm.
again, I would stress it's not what you say, but how you say it when you're in those situations where you're wanting to be honest, where it might possibly hurt somebody. I think the other thing to share real quick, and
Let's
I
do it.
don't know if you shared this in the beginning because I know we are so excited to talk about this topic, but was like, the whole annoying thing was part of the reason I brought this up was because what we were seeing on campus, or at least I was, is, I was seeing young people do things to other people that they didn't realize was annoying. So it's almost like that young person that might be like always kind of like poking at somebody, poking, trying to get some type of reaction. And one of the things that I think you and I talked about this years ago too, though, right, is when may they rest in peace. But school shootings that occur and people that have passed away, and the individuals that did those shootings, we come to find out that there were some things going on for them as far as how they were being received in the school by their peers a lot of times, or sometimes they did have mental health challenges, or there were some other things going on, their familial issues and things of that nature. But a lot of times it seems as if though they weren't accepted for who they were, and or they were just annoyed by people in their school. And everybody has a breaking point, and it shouldn't be breaking point to the place of shooting up a school. That is totally unacceptable, never will be accepted, and don't ever do anything like that. With that being said, people need to understand that when you are messing with somebody, and you might even think it's innocently, like just trying to or Jones on them, or call them out, or picking on them, whatever word you want to use. Sometimes people can only take so much. You may think it's funny, and you may think that like, uh, it's cool, but the question that you have to pay attention to is, how is the other person feeling when you're doing this to them?
Mhm.
Right. And so you want to tell them the story, what happened with us?
Yeah, we could talk about it. Let's talk about it. So,
You want to put it out there.
let's
Remember talking
let's
about being able having a breaking limit and
yeah, we got to put it out there, man. I guess I was watching. I guess me and mom watched this comedy special with George Lopez, right? And it was kind of I guess it was, what was his line? He was like, why you
why you
crying?
crying?
Yeah, why you crying? Why you crying? And I kept saying that to my dad, and he told me to stop a few times, but I don't know how old
This
I
is
was.
over a period of time now. This is over
Right,
a
right,
period
right.
of time, right?
Yeah, this is like maybe I was like 13, 12 or something. I don't know. I was just being annoying. I was like, I didn't understand what stop meant for my dad. I understand what other people, but my dad, I was like, okay, he's a grown man. He could take it. And I didn't know how much it annoyed him until one day where we're at the dining room table, and it's late at night. We're putting dishes away, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, why you crying? And then out of nowhere, just boom, like just breaking point, right? And glasses off the face, that was it. And I learned my lesson right then and there. When somebody tells you to chill out and it's not funny anymore, it really means to chill out and it's not funny anymore, right? And now I've learned how to respect that boundary of not only you but for other people, especially. And I learned that at a harsh, pretty harshly, but it was needed for me to correct and for me to be the individual that I am today, to respect other people's boundaries as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, for me, like again, is I have a breaking point too, right? And it was like it was just so annoying, man. It was just like every freaking day over for like 3 weeks. It was just like, dude, chill out. And part of my reason in reacting the way that I did was one, I was highly frustrated and tired of it. And I did tell him stop multiple times. But I also thought it was a learning opportunity, or excuse me, a teaching opportunity to share with my son that hey, there's a moment that you got to chill out, and if you don't get it now, it's best for you to learn it from me than somebody else, because somebody else could definitely, literally hurt you in a way that you can't come back from.
Right.
And that's, you're my son. I'm never gonna hurt you to the point where you're not, you're leaving this world.
Right. Right.
Right. I mean, because I'm supposed to love and protect you. And so, but in that protection comes teaching. And so people need to understand that all people have a breaking point, and you don't push people to that point.
No.
You don't want to do that. You just want to be aware of how they're receiving what you're giving them. And so if you're not paying attention, it can come off, it can be really annoying to people if you're, cracking jokes all the time and then other people are laughing with you at that person.
Mm,
That's not cool. Or I've seen on school campus, especially middle school, junior high, boys that are, throwing the football, and then they see a group of girls over there and they're trying to throw the ball over there and hit them. Or, just whatever it may be, or even being in class and, being extra loud,
mm.
for whatever reason. And people are really trying to, focus, or, just all those different examples. And you guys could probably think of more, and and probably share them in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
But is just paying attention to that, because that's why we wanted to talk about this as far as being annoying. So how do you not be annoying? Is again being genuine, being honest, and then I think the last one we wanted to get into was definitely
Mhm.
being kind to one another, and that's a huge thing out here where we live. There's this whole, I mean, I don't know, man, like what would you call it, like
Campaign movement.
campaign, right, about be kind. They got like murals in all the schools trying to remind people to be kind. And it's about respecting people's boundaries. It's
Mhm.
about being supportive. It's about having love for people. And when we talk about love, it's not like the romantic love. It's like a an agape love, like just having love for people and understanding that we live on this earth together and we got to support each other. Whether we agree or disagree, we need to be kind to each other. And we need to pay attention to how things are impacting people, even your peers, when you're saying things or you're doing things. So being kind is really, really a tenet. I think that we should walk in no matter um, who you are,
Right.
and supporting one another is important. So be kind. That's really really important. I think the other thing, and I don't know if you got any other uh, scenarios, Z, as far as being annoying that you've seen,
Mm.
um, just to maybe bring it home to some people, because you were talking about like, I think in the classroom or something, like sometimes some students
Oh
try
yeah,
to gain. You
for
want to talk
sure.
about it real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that's a student or has been a student probably knows that person. That's when a guest speaker is speaking or a teacher is speaking, they always have this outlandish questions, or maybe they want to garner attention from somebody, and they're just annoying, and you're like, yo, what's the deal? And for me, as a facilitator and somebody that does public speaking a lot, we understand that instead of maybe uh roasting that person in front of a crowd, maybe pulling them aside and being like, yo, listen, man, I see you, I hear you. And for the most part, that those three things, those three sentences are like the only things they need to hear, right? Is I see you, I hear you. And those two things are like, wow, okay, he gets it. For other people, it takes a couple times to get to the point of being like, hey, man, there's other ways to really get my attention. And you have my attention now, but what are some things that I can do for you, or how can we correct this behavior, because I'm not liking what I'm seeing, right? And I know for teachers, especially teachers that have been doing this like for a couple years, are exhausted, right? They're seeing like we talked about in the beginning of the show, just the lack of maturity within some age ranges, and they're like, yo, I don't want to handle this. I'm just hoping that we just sweep it by and that they're able to go past and whatever the case may be. And I get it that it can be tiring, but now if you're listening as a trusted adult right now to this podcast, you can help alleviate some of that, by being that trusted adult and letting them know, hey, yo, son, yo, daughter, yo, I see you, and I hear you. Let's talk. And that's when it comes from that, instead of coming from a lecture standpoint, coming from that conversation standpoint, and be like, let's have a conversation, and changing that relationship, especially in middle school. And when we talk about being annoying, these are great rules, the great steps, right, to really help you get to the point of, if you are that person that may be demonstrating annoying behavior, instead of trying to get that attention by doing some things that are maybe negative, just try to
Yep.
come at it from these three ways of being genuine, being honest, and being
Positive. Yep.
kind. And you'll be able to realize that, oh, you know what? This is the attention I like. I like getting this kind of attention versus everybody side eyeing me and looking at me crazy or laughing at me. I like to be included. And these three things are ways to garner that energy from people and be like, oh, I want to be around that person because they have these three things. And if you notice about anybody, like whether they're popular, whether they're well known on campus, what are the three traits that they have? Maybe negative, think of positive people, but what are the three traits that they have, right? I mean, for some people in high school, maybe it's because they are selling weed, or maybe they do have the house parties, or they do these things. But what about the people that are positive? Why are people drawn to those people? Is it because they're genuine? Is it because they're honest, and they're genuinely honest, right? They're
Mhm.
genuinely honest
Yes, sir.
versus
Yes, sir.
just being blunt and being rude or mean, as you were saying. Or are they kind? Are they welcoming you into their circle? Are they inclusive? Are they like, yo,
Exactly.
let's talk about it, right? And these are the three ways that you can do this and apply it. And these are three ways that trusted adults can help their youth, right? And also sharing this information with them, and also just being that person that they can practice the skill with. That's what's important, right?
Exactly.
That's what's important.
So true. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think if you see your young person that you care about, doing annoying things, is to pull them to the side. One of the things is and I do a lot of times is, if somebody is that annoying person in the crowd or whatever during our session or whatever, is, we'll wait until after the class and be like, hey, let me pull you to the side for a minute. Hey, I was wondering, like, why were you acting that way? Were you needing attention? So notice we pulled the person to the side. We're letting everybody, all the other students go. Yes, they may see us talking to this individual, but they have no idea what we're talking to them about, right? And we didn't make a big scene about it. But we're sharing with that individual, like, hey, if you're trying to get something, this may not be the best way to get it. And when we say get it, I mean, a lot of times it's either, when I think about Adlerian theory,
Mm-hmm.
it's about power or attention. They're trying to seek power or attention. And there are other ways for young people and people in general, adults also, because I guess we should add, right? There are some adults that are just as annoying, right? And if you happen to be one of them, you can use these tips and points also, or be at least aware of your being annoying. But if you're trying to seek attention, is there a more positive way of seeking that attention? And Z kind of touched on this just a little bit earlier. You know, what are other ways that you could do it that'll be more meaningful and leave you in a good light? Because being that annoying individual is not positive. People don't like being around annoying people. So you might want to take a look at, you know, why don't people truly want to engage with you? And is it that you're being annoying? And if it is, it's because you're not being genuine, you're not being honest, and you're not being kind. And those are things that you can change and shift to be better for your peers, for your school, and for your community, and even your relationship with your parents um, and family. And so, really think about what it is that you're wanting. Is it attention? If it's power, there's other ways to get power also. What I mean by power is not necessarily strength, but that's a part of it. But power in a sense of, I'm trying to dominate this individual by cutting them down,
Mm.
by throwing insults or slurs. Because in all honesty, when you are seeking power in that way, or you use those means to do it, being by degrading people, that says more about you than it does the person that you're throwing those things at. What it really means is that you're weak
Mm.
and you're trying to seek power and you don't know how to do it right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step on other people so it seems like I'm better than them.
Mm.
And what that actually shows is that you're weak. You're literally actually weak with power. And so you're using a negative form to gain that power. And there's other ways to gain power. The other way to gain power is to be genuine, honest, and kind. Because when you do those things, people then want to be with you and have your back and walk with you. One of the things that I tend to do is I'm one of those people who always is a supporter and backer of those that are victimized.
Mm.
Um, I am a bystander sometimes who stands up for those that are being ill treated or treated ill. And that's a tough place to be sometimes, but it's what God has always put in my heart ever since I was young. Look out for those that need support in that moment. And everybody at some point in time needs somebody to step up with them, for them, and be by their side. It reminds me of that song. It remind me of a song, boy. Remind me of a song. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. Everybody sing with me. I'll help you carry on. Anyway, so we all need somebody to lean on at some point in time. So just remember, are you trying to seek attention? And if so, find different ways of doing it. If you're trying to seek power, there's positive ways to do that than being annoying and just constantly just getting on everybody's nerves, man.
Yeah.
That's not cool. So I think those are the 3 points that we had. Hopefully this might resonate with some people out there to help them be better, do better. Um, and I think that's what we wanted to share, I believe, right?
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think lastly, I will share with everybody is that you'll notice that these three tips surround a they are about you, right? It's not about anybody else. And I think I know that's what a lot of people think. Well, if that group would just, but it's not them. It's not you keep looking to place the blame on somebody else, but have
So
you
true.
looked at yourself and looked at these characteristics? Am I genuine? Am I being honest? Am I being kind? And if not, the good news is you came to the Up to It podcast, and we're letting you know right now that you can change, right?
Yes,
And
indeed.
things gonna change, right? Y'all can check that out. That's episode 2. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna
Right, right.
keep going. These are building blocks. You know what I'm saying? These episodes kind of pile upon each other. So if you haven't checked out any previous episodes, check them out, man. If this one really struck a chord to you, and you're like, you know what, I think I want to rock with them a little bit more. You know,
Dude.
we got 8 more episodes that you can check it out. So check it out. Lastly, you can follow us at the Up to It podcast everywhere that you have social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're on those platforms.
We're
And if you
there,
want to
baby.
and if you want to listen to this podcast audio, you can listen to it everywhere that you listen to your podcast. You can find us. You just type the Up to It podcast, and we'll probably be the handsomest cartoon faces you've ever seen in your
Yeah,
life up
boy.
there. But with that being said, Pop, you got anything else you want to leave them with before we get up
Hey,
out of here?
man, just go out there, be positive, be yourself. But remember, be genuine, honest, and kind. We're gonna get at you.
Let's get up out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.